We have different types of hormones: steroids, proteins, amines, etc. And all in all, there are 50 different ones in the human body. Today I will present you 5 of them, which are especially involved in the anabolism, that means the buildup of muscle and tissue, and simultaneously in the reduction of fat. If you know me and my content, you know that it's very important to me that you understand what I'm talking about. So let me quickly sum up how hormones in generally work in our body. Hormones are chemical messengers, which are foremostly produced by so-called endocrine cells residing in glands. And in our body we have several of these glands, which make up our whole endocrine system. And this system is tightly bonded to the nervous system, which activates it. An extreme example: you see a tiger running towards you. There will be no much thinking. The tiger or the nerval stimuli directly stimulates the glands, which in turn release the hormones. The hormones are released from the gland directly into the bloodstream, and from the bloodstream they bind to specific receptors on the target cell. This results in a hormone receptor complex, and both are translocated into the nucleus of the cell where the real change happens. For example, protein or energy production is activated. The process is of course much more complicated, but for now it should be enough. Let's start with number 1 and the maybe most well-known steroid on this list: testosterone. Testosterone is produced in the testicles and in women, amongst other places, in the ovaries. It is responsible for the typical male sex characteristics, like for example facial hair, body hair, the Adam's apple,
or in generally a deep voice,
and the ability to generate muscle mass at a faster rate than women. What are the benefits of high testosterone levels? First of all, it helps in the production of red blood cells. And as you maybe know, red blood cells are responsible for transporting oxygen to your muscles. And more oxygen in your muscle cells means more energy. Secondly, it's very important for your bones, or to be more specific, to the mineral density of the bones. That's why men have a lower risk for diseases like osteoporosis in higher ages than women. Thirdly, it increases the libido. And there is even evidence that the risk for cognitive dysfunctions or diseases like the Alzheimer's disease is reduced. And testosterone also influences your mood. But it's not only about testosterone levels, but also about the sensitivity to it. That means the amount of androgen receptors. But this is more or less a genetic thing, and you cannot really influence that a lot. So very often it is the absolute amount of testosterone which causes problems, but sometimes it's a problem in the usage. The next one, or the next 2 basically, must be mentioned together: ghrelin and leptin. These 2 determine your eating behavior. Ghrelin is also known as the hunger hormone, and as you can imagine, it regulates your appetite. It is, by the way, secreted by the pancreas and the colon, and is also responsible for the storage of fat. It also influences insulin and therefore glucose uptake by the cells. Basically, when you eat, your ghrelin levels tremendously decrease, and with time they of course increase again. And if the ghrelin levels are too high, they bind to specific receptors in the brain, which induce a neuronal signal which make you hungry. And as you can imagine, during diets or calorie deficit, you have elevated ghrelin levels. Now let's talk about leptin, which is secreted by fat cells or white adipose tissue. And it basically counteracts ghrelin. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is your chance to click on the red button down there and on the bell to get immediate notification about the newest tutorials and useful information. Because of its relationship to fat cells, the amount of leptin is proportional to the amount of fat cells. It basically gives you the signal that you ate enough and that you're full. So the more leptin you have, the more saturated you will feel. The problem with obese people is that they develop over time a leptin resistance. This is problematic because if the body had enough, it cannot shoot out the signal that it had enough, so the person just continues eating without getting the feeling that he or she is full. Because your muscle gain and fat loss is so much dependent on your eating behavior, these 2 hormones are so important. Hormone number 3, insulin-like growth factor 1, also an anabolic hormone. It's mostly produced by the liver and regulated via a very important other hormone, the human growth hormone, which will be the 5th point. When this hormone binds to its target cell, the target cell proliferates and produces anabolites such as proteins in higher quantities. Therefore, obviously, other cellular compartments like mitochondria are generated. At the same time, it inhibits molecules, enzymes, etc., which are responsible in the breakdown of proteins. They also activate satellite cells, which are specialized muscle cells, which is very important for muscle growth, but I will talk about that more detailed in another video. It's also said to play a role in aging, and it increases the sensitivity to insulin. So more glucose can enter the cells. The fourth one are the thyroid hormones, and as I did my research, I must admit I was pretty surprised to read about their role for muscle growth and repair. By the way, there are different ones like T3 and T4 and other smaller subtypes, but I don't think that's very important for this video here. Thyroid hormones have an impact on virtually every tissue and every cell of your body, and myopathic changes do correlate with hyperthyroidism, which means lack of thyroid hormones. A part of their role in the proper metabolism of muscle cells, they are important for your mental health and for your cardiovascular system. And lastly, the human growth hormone, or simply growth hormone. As you can see, the scientists who discovered it were not really creative with the name, but at least the role is obvious. It's secreted by the pituitary gland, and its main function is to maintain, build and repair tissue. In other words, it's responsible for the growth and division of cells. As it's involved in repair and muscles grow while they repair, its function is obvious. It's kind of a master regulator and influences many other hormones, amongst other things the previously mentioned IGF-1. It's even that important that synthetic human growth hormone is used as a drug to treat poor growth in kids and adults and counteract muscle loss due to diseases like AIDS. Therefore, growth hormone deficiency is clearly linked to a number of medical cases. So its role, especially for muscle growth, is extremely important. Finally, as a bonus, the happy hormone serotonin. Well, your mood affects your workout, you know that. And tell me, how motivated are you to give your best if you don't feel the best? If I think about myself, I had my best workouts when I felt really good, when I felt really happy. I just wanted to give my best, but I also had days where I just really didn't want to train. So I think serotonin levels do play a crucial role. I think that its indirect impact is a bit underestimated. Generally, with a clear mental state, you have a better workout, it's more productive, so make sure to take care of your inner self as well as of your outer self. Actually, in vitro and now in vivo studies in mice could show a direct correlation between serotonin levels and muscle protein synthesis and physical performance. So we can be excited what future research will discover. The last very important thing I want to say is, please don't think that only these hormones are important. Actually, all hormones influence your muscle growth and fat loss in some way. But of course, some more than others. But all of them are not only important for anabolism, but actually for survival in general. I hope you enjoyed the video and don't forget to subscribe for more useful information. Stay healthy and see you next time.